Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
Greeting fellow workers, fellow seekers of justice and honor. We have come here together today to demand freedom for one who has put their safety and life at risk in order for the public to see for ourselves what war looks like, what the truth looks like. Because of this, because the state relies upon secrecy and deception in order to maintain its imperialist, plutocratic, capitalist agenda and commit genocide and mass murder around the globe at the working class's expense, the state has declared not only Private Manning to be its enemy, but truth and democracy.
That's right.
Private Manning, according to the chat logs, wished to inform the general public in order to provoke reforms and dialogue. Manning was aiding and abetting us, not Al-Qaeda. So if Manning is guilty of aiding and abetting the enemy, then the state has declared us, we the people, so-called citizens of this country, to be the enemy. If one were to charge those who aid and abet terrorist organizations, then let us start at the top of the military ranks, Commander-in-Chief Obama. Let us start with the CIA, who trained and armed Osama bin Laden and many others like him in order to fight the evil communist threat. Let us start with the schools of America. Let us start with the Reagan administration, who armed Saddam Hussein with mustard gas and other weapons to be used against his people and neighbors for our benefit. Let us start with the United Fruit Company, who arms guerrillas to control its workforce and to exploit poor countries so that we can have 10 monocultured, genetically modified bananas for $1. Let us start with Coca-Cola, who has assassinated and terrorized union leaders and workers in South America. This is terrorism. This is aiding and abetting the enemy. Exposing war crimes is not. To the crime of aiding and abetting the enemy, do you, the people, find Private Manning guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty!
To the crime of aiding and abetting the enemy, do you find the U.S. government and its corporations guilty or not guilty?
Guilty!
Private Manning is being charged with 9 counts stemming from codes classified under failure to obey lawful order or regulation. When the law becomes in itself an obstacle to a higher law, it must be broken. For example, these codes under which Private Manning is being charged, mostly having to do with computer violations due to how the leaked information was retrieved, should not trump Manning's oath to defend and uphold the Constitution. These codes should not trump one's obligation to expose war crimes and cover-ups. If someone is to be charged with failure to obey lawful order or regulation, let us first start by charging those in this administration who are in violation of international human rights laws regarding the torture and imprisonment of Private Manning. Let us start with those who are drone bombing civilians in Pakistan. Charge Israel and the U.S. for supporting genocide and occupation in Palestine. Charge the U.S. Senate for its support of the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act. For failure to obey lawful order or regulation, do you find Private Manning guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty!
For failure to obey lawful order or regulation, such as that of the Geneva Convention, the U.S. Constitution, the UN Declaration of Human Rights, do you find the U.S. government guilty or not guilty?
Guilty!
As we look at the charges against Private Manning, we can see that it is not truth, it is not democracy, it is not justice,
You got it.
It is not for our protection for which Private Manning is being charged. It is against these principles for which our system stands. It is not a broken system, it is a rigged system. It is a system designed designed and cherished by the ruling class, because as long as information regarding their crimes is to be considered classified and illegal to expose, resistance by conscious people will be considered criminal acts. This is not democracy. This is not a republic. This is tyranny. Thank you. Free Bradley Manning. This event was organized today by the San Diego Coalition for Peace and Justice and the San Diego Alliance for Peace and Justice, San Diego Alliance for Marriage Equality. Thank you everybody for coming today.